All right, today we're cracking open a pretty provocative, some might even say controversial guide, the Machiavellian Playbook. It claims to lay out the unwritten rules of power that the world's elite 1% supposedly live by. So, what are these secrets? Let's dive in.
It's a pretty unsettling question, isn't it? Have you ever just looked around and felt like some people are playing a totally different game? One with a hidden rulebook for getting ahead? Well, this playbook claims that rulebook is very, very real. So the source we're digging into is called the Machiavellian Playbook. Now, we have to put a big disclaimer right up front. This is for awareness, not for misuse. Our goal here is simply to understand the strategies it describes, definitely not to endorse them. Okay, so the first big lesson from this playbook is kind of surprising. It's not about what you do, it's all about how you're seen. It argues that real power begins with building this impenetrable armor, an armor of perception. And this leads to a really stark and unsettling claim. The playbook says that who you actually are is secondary. In the game of power, what truly matters is what people believe you are. Think about that. Perception isn't just a piece of the game, it's the entire battlefield. And they take this whole perception thing even further. The playbook argues that if you're predictable, you're weak. You're easy to control. So what's the real power move? It's cultivating an air of mystery, right? It keeps others off balance, always guessing what you'll do next. Yeah, this playbook doesn't pull any punches. Rule number 27 puts it so bluntly: what is seen is what sells. And we're not just talking about products on a shelf. This is a philosophy for marketing yourself. The image you project becomes the only product people are willing to buy into. And to wrap up this whole idea of image, the playbook just flips a common assumption right on its head. We all think power has to be loud, right? Flashy. But this guide says, nope, true power is silent. It's that confident presence in a room that you feel way before you ever hear. Okay, so once you've got that armor of perception all set up, what's next? Well, the playbook moves on to how you interact with people. And it frames social dynamics not as, relationships, but as a strategic game, a chessboard of people where every single move counts. So, the number one rule on this chessboard: you have to master the difference between reacting and responding. A reaction, that's emotional, it's impulsive. But a response, as the playbook defines it, is strategic. It always starts with just observing, watching, and then making a calculated move to get what you want. But why is that so important? Why the strategic response? Because this playbook is built on one core belief. People are driven by emotion, not logic. So if you really want to influence someone, you've got to get past the rational brain and go straight for the feelings. And this is where things get, pretty controversial. According to Rule 52, the playbook actually advises against relying on your friends. Why? Because it claims they're prone to envy. Instead, it suggests that a former strong enemy, if you can win them over, makes a much more loyal ally, because they have everything to prove. But here's the thing. All these external strategies, managing your image, playing the chessboard of people, they're apparently useless without one final, absolutely crucial piece. The playbook presents this as the real core of its philosophy, building an internal fortress. A fortress of the mind, all through the power of self-control. And the cornerstone of that fortress? It's something the playbook calls an elite trait: impulse control. It's that super rare ability to resist your urges, to delay gratification, and to always, and I mean always, keep your eyes on the long game. This guide is just ruthless when it comes to identifying the enemies within, the things that destroy your power from the inside out. Your ego, it'll blind you. Inner chaos, that guarantees outer failure. That need for validation from other people, that just makes you their pawn. And showing your emotions? Well, according to this, that's the fastest way to lose every bit of leverage you have. And when you have that self-control, your goals fundamentally shift. The playbook argues that most people, the masses, they're chasing attention. The loud, flashy stuff that doesn't last. But the elite, they're seeking influence. That's the silent, deep, and permanent stuff. And that is the real price. Then Rule 61 just sums this whole thing up with this chillingly simple phrase: control over self equals control over the world. Think about that. According to this guide, Every single ounce of external power flows directly from that one internal source. So after all of this, all these rules about perception, strategy, self-discipline, where is this all going? Well, the playbook builds everything up to one final, ultimate secret. The one idea that it claims holds everything else together. We've gone through rules on your image, on how to deal with people, how to master yourself. But the source is really clear here. All of those are just spokes on a wheel. They all lead back to one single point at the center. And here it is, the final rule. The biggest secret of them all is simply mastery over oneself. It turns out, in the end, it's not about controlling other people at all. It's about having absolute, unwavering control over your own mind. That, the playbook concludes, is the one true source of all power. But the playbook leaves us with one last really crucial piece of advice. Rule 97 just says, awareness is protection. The idea is that just by understanding these rules, whether you ever use them or not, you're protecting yourself. It's your best defense against the people who will use them. And that, of course, leaves us with the big critical question. This whole playbook is presented as a tool for awareness. But as you learn these kinds of tactics, you have to ask yourself, where's the line? Where does being aware and protecting yourself end, and where does using it to manipulate other people begin?